Hi everybody, my name is Corey Holzman and I'm here at the Black Belt Leadership Academy, my school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A lot of you probably recognize me from the circuit. I can be quite a bit. I work with SportMartialArts. I'm the camera guy, among other things. And we're here today because I'm going to be teaching a traditional form in 3 parts. And that traditional form is going to be Seipai. I learned this a long time ago. And there's a lot of people that do Seipai. They compete with it all over the place. I see it on stage. I see it in the divisions. I see it everywhere. Everyone's got kind of a different way of doing it, and that's fine. This is the way that I learned and the way that I've kind of modified it with competition, but it's not the only way. So there's something that you see that you really like, awesome. There's something you see that you don't quite agree with, totally fine. Feel free to reach out and let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to walk us through in 3 sections over the next couple days. So we have today, which is section 1, which is kind of a smaller section. So it's not going to be a super long or complex bit, but there's a lot of cool stuff in it. And then sections 2 or 3 are a lot more complicated with some weird moves that I've never seen in other forms before. So with that, we'll get started. And here we go. So when we start, I'm just going to be looking this way right here. So we're kind of at an angle, but I'll be touching base with you guys as much as I can. So we're going to start right here. Our attention and just a big salute here. The form is called Seipai. And we're going to bring those hands together. I'm going to bring my feet apart. And as I bring my feet apart, I bring my hands in front of my body at the same time. So I'm going to come here, breathe out, just like this. Now, I'm going to go basically to my chun B. So I'm going to kind of rock forward just imperceptibly. I'm going to pull my heels apart as I pull my hands back to my hips. So I'm going to pull them out just like this, and here's my chun B. So my knees aren't straight. They're bent a little bit. My pelvis is rocked forward, and I'm kind of pulling this through here. So this is all into my big ibuki here. So my body's tight. I exhale at the same time, and that's my ibuki. All right, so we'll try that all together. So right here, salute, Seipai, hands come out, toes come out. I'm going to pull those hands back, and there's my ibuki. Pelvis rocks up just a little bit. Now the first thing I want to do is I'm going to step back with my left foot into a horse stance. And while I do that, my hands are going to do a couple things first. But I always think about standing kind of rocking towards my right side, and my left foot comes in and back, almost like a right angle. So when I do this, I step this foot in and I turn my body 90 degrees this way. My left hand comes back, and about when it reaches this 90-degree point here, my right hand comes down. Now both hands are going to kind of windmill just like this as I settle in that horse stance. So I bring this hand back, I step that left foot all the way back into my horse. This hand comes up and around. I'm going to point with that right hand straight towards the judges, the mirror, the target, the front of the room. And this left hand is held up right in front of my chest. All right, one more thing. Out of this horse stance, I'm straight here. I'm going to step forward with my left foot, and I'm going to step into a stance that's kind of turned. All right, so it's not a front stance here. It's kind of what happens. I tell my kids, it's like if you're in a front stance and someone pushes on your head, you get crunched in a little bit. So I'm going to have my knees in a little bit. This back leg is parallel to the ground, perpendicular to the ground. My knees are pushed in, and the pelvis is still rocked up just a little bit. I'm going to scoop with this hand. All right, walk through those 2 things again. So we're going to start here. Big salute. Seipai. Toes out. Heels out. Take this left hand, and as I step back, feet come together. This comes back. Turn that body. As that hits 90 degrees, I start to step back into my horse stance right here. So I want to make sure that my heels are on that same line, and my left hand is straight on my chest. I'm going to step forward that left foot. And I'm going to step into that kind of shortened, abbreviated front stance, and I'm scooping here. You can think of it as you're scooping a front kick, you're catching, and the next piece is we're going to grab. All right, I'm going to pull this left hand in. I chamber to my ribs, and I'm going to punch straight out. I was talking with one of my friends not too long ago. We were trying to figure out the application for this. So there's a lot, tons of bunkai. But the one that I really stuck with that I liked is you're catching that front kick, grab that foot, break that ankle, and pushing through that next technique, which was pretty cool. All right, so we scoop, we grab, crack that ankle. So I'm re-chambering here to my ribs. I'm going to punch with my left hand over the top. So I rotate here, and there's that punch. Now the next piece is I'm still in this kind of abbreviated stance. I'm going to step with my right foot, and as I step with that right foot, both my hands are going to come to my hip. So I want to think of it kind of having it at the same time. So I step here with that right foot, hands come to my hip, and I slide forward with that same right foot into a horse stance, just here, and drive that elbow straight up. All right, so we have a couple things, and even though it's the first section, there's a couple of weird ways of moving. So let's review that one more time before we're at home. So we're here, toes out, hands together. Pull those heels apart, bring the hands back. Left hand is going to slide back as my left foot steps in. I rotate to 90 degrees, left hand at 90. I step back into my horse. Both hands come around in a big circle, and that left is straight up on my chest, and the right is pointing forward. Not like a knife hand, but just kind of pointing. I'm going to step with that left foot into that kind of abbreviated stance here, and my left hand comes up as my right hand pulls all the way back into my chamber. And I bring this up about belly button height. All right, there's that scoop. Grab, and as I grab, my right hand's on the top, my left hand's on the bottom. I'm going to kind of have my thumbs crossed like this. Now I'm going to pull my left hand in. I was thinking of this as a left-handed punch that my right hand's along for the ride with. Pull it back to my ribs here, and I'm going to roll over and punch. Now I'm going to step forward with that right foot, and as I step, I bring those hands back to my hip. So I'm going to step forward here into my horse stance, elbows straight up. And now we're going to do, we're almost reaching into the first section already. All right, the left foot is going to step forward, and I want to step straight. I'm going to step at that angle. So I'm going to step forward, and as I do, I bring my hands apart. This left hand is going to make this circle, so almost like a chamber, and I'm going to turn here. So this hand's high, this hand's low, and both hands are open. I'm in a front stance, basically facing this direction. So instead of stepping straight, I almost step at a 45. All right, so if I rewind back to that elbow, straight up here, my left foot steps forward at that 45, and as my left foot moves, my left hand is kind of going to shoot up a little bit. So elbow, left foot comes up into that chamber, turn, and block. All right, I want this elbow about in line with my hip, and I don't want it too far out. So I'm not trying to push him away. I'm catching low here, and this hand stays here. Now, this left hand, when I rotate it, think of your elbow staying in the same spot. It doesn't move. The only thing that's rotating is my hand right here. So if I'm here, it comes all the way in, across my body, and out, and I'm kind of keeping that straight. Now I'm kind of wound up right here for my knife hand strike with my right hand. And all I need to do, because I set my feet, is rotate into that front stance. So I'm going to push off my right foot and drive into my left front stance. So if I'm here, I'm going to turn, drive, and I pull that left hand back, just like that. So if we do it a little bit quicker, I bring it up here. I want to kind of attack that stance. My hips move. So I turn, and I bring that right back. All right, let's try that whole thing again. Now that idea of kind of attacking with your hips and really rotating from the core, that's the whole premise to this form. You know, it has no punches. It has 3 front kicks, and it's got a bunch of kind of strange things that are very circular in nature. I mean, which is karate in a lot of ways. But so it's all about moving from the core. And for me, I learned this form when I was 18. And until that point, I hadn't done much of that. And it really brought me to a new level of understanding about kind of how to move differently and how to move with more power. So that's what I really enjoy about Seipai, which is why we're doing it today. So if we walk through that whole section right here, big salute, Seipai, toes out. I'm going to grab here. I'm going to pull my heels apart and bring it all the way back here. Good. Now I'm going to take my left foot, comes in, left hand comes out, all the way back, turn my body and 90 degrees with this left hand here. Step all the way back around the head and push, keeping that wrist nice and straight. My left foot is going to step forward, and I scoop and pull that right chamber hand back, right about belly button level. That right hand's going to come out, grab. I'm going to pull that back to my chamber, almost rotating, and punch. Now I'm going to step forward with my right foot, and my right elbow is going to drive straight up. So I step, elbow straight forward, and that's coming up at almost a straight angle. Not so much I'm going to sacrifice my form by bending my back, but I'm thinking of it as I come through, it comes straight up here. And my hands are still clasped together. Now this is where I step with my left foot, and I step at kind of that 45 degrees. So I'm going to end this next step in a front stance facing, for me, the bathroom is over there. All right, so if I step forward here, I'm going to step, place my foot at that angle, turn, my left hand comes up, there's my chamber, and block into my front stance. Now, I was a little bit far out, sorry. I need this elbow to stay right where it is. So it's going to stay here. This left hand comes in and out, keep that wrist nice and straight. And I'm going to rotate and really push into that next technique. So I'm driving from those hips here. I pull this left hand as I push with my right. So I rotate, and there's that strike. keeping that wrist straight. All right, now we have just a few more things. Front kick number 1 of 3. I'm going to do with my right foot here. I'm at the strike. I'm going to kick, and these kicks are low and they're snappy. So I'm not trying to kick high. Some of our Korean styles that get really high and stick, and that's really cool. What we want to do is a low, snappy kick that's about waist height, stomach height here. So if I'm here, I'm going to kick, and it comes back right away into that horse stance. All right, and as it comes back, I pull both hands into this set right here. All right, so let's try it again. So for here, I have my left hand back, my left hand stays open. I have my left hand strike right here. I'm going to do that right leg front kick. It stays low. I try to keep my shoulders up, just kind of my upper body stays where it is. I kick here, bring it back into my horse stance, pull both hands back, and then it's a back fist like this at 90 degrees. My little stylistic touch here is I like to hit people. So I think that when I land here, I'm going to do this grab and do that back fist moving forward. Totally up to you, but the traditional way is it comes back here and strikes right away at 90 degrees. I'm going to make sure that doesn't go too close and that we don't drop that elbow. So keep it nice and tight. A good way to check is just try a mirror out. If I can look, I can see, that's pretty good. So let's try that again. So here, and there we go. Seipai. Toes apart, hands in front. Heels apart, hands by your sides. Left foot steps back, left hand comes back at the same time. 90 degrees with that left, comes all the way back. Settle in that horse stance. We're going to step forward with our left foot. Scoop, grab, pull that left hand back into that punch. Good, I'm going to step forward with my right foot. Elbow comes straight up. And now I'm going to step forward with my left. This is at that 45 degrees. Left hand comes up, chamber, block here in that front stance. Left hand comes up, rotating from the elbow. Straight wrist, rotate, strike with my right foot. Front kick, nice and low, stomach height at the highest. Get back into your horse stance, pull across, and back fist. All right, and that is all of section 1. So like I said, it's a shorter section. I'll talk it through once or twice more because I know if we're training at home and trying to learn it, that was fast. That was not that much time, so I'll talk it through nice and slow. And then I'll go through it a little bit faster and see what we were trying to make it, what the timing is for me anyway. Every time, everyone does forms differently, so just the way I do a form is the way that nobody else will, because you guys are all going to do your own thing. So if you have questions after you do this, please ask me. It's pretty exciting. I love teaching this form and all forms. But here we go. So, big salute, another talk through. Left foot steps back, left hand comes back, 90 degrees, step back with that left foot. Hands come out. My left foot's going to step forward and scoop. Grab with that hand on top. Pull the left all the way back. Punch with that left hand on top again. Now I'm going to step with my right foot, elbow into that horse. My left foot steps through at 45. Chamber, turn. Left hand comes up. Point with that hand. Rotate. Strike. Right foot does the front kick. Comes all the way back in that horse stance. And back fist. There we go. All right, one more time. Seipai. Toes. Heels. Left foot back. Step back into that horse stance here. Step up into the scoop. Grab that foot. Break. Punch. Step forward, elbow straight up. Left foot steps through. Chamber. Shift into that front stance. Left hand comes up and rotate. Strike. Right hand does that, or right foot does the front kick. Toe chuggy and back fist. Nicely done. Let's switch out one more time. Go a little bit faster without any words whatsoever. Say bye. And there we go, section 1. We'll go over this again. So we have our next class, I believe, Monday. And I'll go through this again one more time, and then we'll go into section 2. And there's going to be a couple weird spins that we're going to talk about. So get prepared to be rotating at home, and we'll see you then.